Continuing with our investigation of body systems, this is going to be about digestive, excretory, and reproductive. Your favorite, I'm sure. All right, the digestive system. Digestive system is a group of organs that takes in and digests food, absorbs needed nutrients, and eliminates solid waste. These are some of the primary organs of the digestive system, most of which I think y'all will recognize. Functional and structural units. Functions are made possible by enzymes, which are biological molecules. They're a type of protein that act as catalysts, and that's a new word as well. A catalyst is something that speeds up or accelerates a reaction. And enzymes are designed to help complex reactions occur. Basically, most of the reactions that involve digestion use enzymes to speed up that process. So enzymes are a functional unit, as well as a small little structure called a villi. Actually, it's a villus. Villus would be singular, villi would be plural. And villi are any of the numerous elongated projections on a surface of something designed to increase the surface area for absorption. So the villi are designed to absorb nutrients in mostly your small intestine. But basically, it's the villi where the transfer of the nutrients occur. And similarly to capillaries, they are also one cell thick and surrounded by the capillaries, which is, your little vessel that, makes it possible for transfers to occur. So just like any of the other organ systems we've been talking about, when they're doing their job, the functional unit is always going to be associated with capillaries. Okay, it's a common theme that you should be getting used to. Okay, so let's look at some of the organs again of the digestive system. Okay. It's a general overview of all those organs that are packed into your abdominal cavity. This is all below your diaphragm. Okay, so we've got a rectum, which is where all of your excess waste gets excreted once you're done absorbing what nutrients you can get from it. You have a small intestine, gallbladder, liver right here, stomach, large intestine, which is the structure, appendix, which is this tiny little guy right here, pancreas, which is this. You may recognize that from when we were talking about the endocrine, the esophagus, which is this tube leading to the stomach, and I believe that is all of it. Okay, the general pathway through the digestive system involves first, of course, your mouth, where you chew, and saliva will prepare that food along with the chewing for swallowing. In order to swallow, you have to move past the epiglottis into the esophagus, the tube that moves food using powerful wave-like contractions called peristalsis. And so this video here actually shows peristalsis, and we'll be viewing that in class. If you would like to see it, just ask me if you missed class, and I will send you a link, okay? Actually, it's probably linked in your notes section as well. Okay, continuing the pathway, we move into the stomach after that peristalsis through your esophagus, that wave-like muscular contraction. You reach the stomach, and digestion begins basically for some protein, not much else. And we also create your food bolus, that little, chewed up bits of food are kind of transformed into something we call chyme, which is sort of a liquidy, gooey food mixture. You move from the stomach into the small intestine, and this happens to be where the majority of digestion and absorption occurs through the action of several enzymes and the absorption through the villi. Once you reach the large intestine, we reabsorb a whole bunch of that water that made that chyme liquidy so it would flow well through the digestive system. We reabsorb it so we don't lose it because we like to hold on to water. And then ultimately it reaches the rectum where it's stored until you are ready to get rid of it. The video again we'll watch in class. Lastly, removal, elimination from the body through something familiar there. So some of you at some point may start wondering, why is it that we do not digest ourselves? It mainly has to do with mucus, and mucus, okay? Ulcers basically come from a situation that arises when the mucus layer is not protecting us very well. And that may be due to bacterial infection or something else, and what actually happens is all those enzymes start breaking down the stomach lining and causing wounds, basically burns in your tissue. So mucus is kind of important in protecting all the inside of your gut. All right, that leads us to the excretory system. The excretory system is a group of organs that excrete chemical waste produced by your body. These wastes include water, carbon dioxide, salts, other toxins, nitrogenous waste from in the form of urea mostly, and which is a byproduct of some of your protein reactions in the body. Organs of the excretory system include the kidneys. Some might say the primary organ of excretion is the kidneys, but it also includes your liver, your lungs, and your skin. So the kidneys. All right, fun fact, the first organ ever transplanted was a kidney in 1954. The water inside of your body is mixed with salts. In fact, it is sort of similar to ocean water. And the kidneys function to maintain this balance of salts inside of your body. And how do they do this? Well, they do it using a little tiny structure called a nephron. And this is a structure inside of the kidney where the transfer of toxins, in the form of urine mostly, from the blood occurs, and it is funneled off to a tube that will eliminate it from the body. Basically, it's a tube that connects you to the bladder so that you can fill that up as needed and then get rid of it. They are found, all of these little nephrons, in the sort of outer, it's this sort of outer part of each kidney. And this intersection in here is sort of a collecting chamber where the urine gets funneled to ultimately kind of pass out through your ureter to the bladder. Okay. We watched a little filtration video in class. I'm curious to see if it will play, but I don't, I'll give it a sec. Yeah, I don't think it's going to. So we, again, watch that in class, and if you have questions about it, just ask. As far as kidney problems, most common kidney problem is kidney stones, which are stones composed of uric acid, calcium oxalate, and calcium phosphate, or sometimes magnesium phosphate. If they pass from the kidney into the ureter, they can cause pretty good amount of pain. Nausea and vomiting, pain to the point that nausea and vomiting can be associated. Your ureter is pretty sensitive, and that that stone pressing up against that can not feel very good. Those who suffer from kidney stones may be able to get rid of them by drinking large quantities of water and trying to flush them out. Surgery is sometimes required. They do have a new technique of using ultrasonic wave treatments, and the waves sort of break those larger kidney stones up into smaller stones and making them easier to kind of pass and hopefully avoiding surgery. So that's pretty cool that they can do that now, because that's a pretty invasive surgery to go in there and open up your kidneys to kind of remove these things. Here's how it works. Those shock waves coming in, breaking up larger stones into smaller stones and making them easier to pass. The next organ of excretion is the liver, and the liver filters your blood of amino acids, creating the urine that is thereby excreted by the kidneys. So the liver and the kidneys have to work together for this process. The liver also filters out old, worn out hemoglobin cells in the blood, your red blood cells basically. So old red blood cells get processed and recycled, so to speak, in the liver. And it also removes any toxins and poisons that may have, built up in the blood from normal cellular reactions or things that you've eaten or whatever, and turns them into harmless substances. Those substances are, in order to make that happen, there are a ton of chemical reactions that are occurring in the liver. Oxidation, reduction, hydrolysis, hydration, all of these are various chemical reactions that you will hear about more when you take either AP Bio or biochemistry later in your life, if you follow that route. But all of these different chemical reactions are occurring in the liver, so there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of nutrients that are required for that process, and you can see those. You can see those down here. Okay, there's two different phases, as you can see here. First, they have to take fat-soluble toxins and convert them into water-soluble so that they can then be eliminated either in the urine, the bile, or the stool. And there you go. Okay, the next organ of excretion is the lungs, and the lungs are responsible for eliminating any gaseous waste that your body produces, things like carbon dioxide and water in a gaseous form. And the reason I say that is, you obviously don't just excrete water directly out of your lungs. It's in a gas. So when you breathe out on a cold day, the reason that you can see your breath is primarily because of the water vapor that is in it. And that when it's cold, it'll condense in the air and you see it as a little cloud in front of you. So those two get excreted, carbon dioxide and water, by your lungs. The male reproductive system is what we're going to go to next, and the male reproductive system functions to 1, produce sperm, and to 2, transfer it to the female reproductive system. That's its main purpose. Some of the main structures of the male reproductive system are seen here, from the testes and the vas deferens and seminiferous tubules, along with your prostate gland. All of those are important reproductive organs. The functional and structural units of the male reproductive system are, we're going to say, the testes, because they are the things that actually produce the sperm. And they also produce the male hormone testosterone, which regulates the production of sperm and the formation of male secondary sex characteristics, like getting taller, growing facial hair, all that kind of a thing. That leads us to the female reproductive system, and the female reproductive system functions to produce eggs, ensure the development of fertilized eggs, and giving birth. I don't know how many of you are UT fans out there, but I may be just about to ruin that symbol for you. Okay, so the female reproductive system consists of ovaries, fallopian tubes, and the uterus predominantly. As far as functional units go, the ovaries are about the size of a large olive, and each ovary produces eggs, also called oocytes, along with the hormones estrogen and progesterone. And for those of you that didn't know this, it also produces testosterone in small amounts. And the estrogen and progesterone regulate the production and release of the eggs, regulate the development of female secondary sex characteristics as well. And they're basically, the ovaries are your functional units for the female reproductive system. And I think there's your ovary, and this is your little fallopian tube. That's about it for the chapter. Thank you so much.